the recommendation of the committee
That
is
is
that
informative.
125 million don't borrow.
That's why I say that is informative.
Yeah, Madam Speaker, if you can allow, what should happen, and I want to implore the Honorable Musasizi, because the sky will not come down, withdraw the motion,
Which one?
reintroduce it, provide all the information, the committee can process it. Now when you bring fresh information in Parliament here, you mean Parliament will become a committee and will begin
Honorable members, we are giving Honorable Musasi's time to furnish the relevant information that is required, that is missing, for us to be able to allow the borrowing of UDB and guaranteeing UDB. And the reports that should be informative should be in different, should be made differently. One for borrowing and one for guaranteeing. Next item.
Item 6 on the order paper. Bill second reading. The Public Service Pension Fund Bill 2024.
Honorable members, you may recall that on 19 December 2024, the Minister of Public Service tabled the Public Service Pension Fund Bill for the first reading pursuant to Rule 129 of the Rules of Procedure of Parliament. The bill was referred to the Sectoral Committee of Public Service and Local Government, and the committee is ready to report. But before the committee reports, we will ask the minister to move a motion for the bill to be read the second time. Honorable Minister, order on who? No. Honorable Minister.
Right Honorable Speaker and Honorable Members.
Honorable Seungu, you first sit.
Right Honorable Speaker and Honorable Members.
You first sit. No, sit. Honorable Minister.
In accordance with Rule 130 of the Rules of Procedure of Parliament, I beg to move that the bill entitled the Public Service Pension Fund Bill 2024 be read a second time. I beg to move.
Seconded. Seconded by Jonathan. Honorable, seconded by Honorable Jonathan Odur. Honorable Jonathan Ebwalu. Honorable Kirumira Hassan. Honorable Ethel Helen Egweri Aru. Honorable Kasolo. Ikik. Honorable Mbwa. Honorable Florence. Emmanuel. Two Emmanuels. Acrobat. Koluo. Okot. Okelo. Casilo. Honorable Fisheries. What an Aisha Sekinde. Honorable Prime Minister. Deputy Prime Minister Saro Pendi by the whole side of NRM, and David the other side, and the Honorable Akum Mavenjina and the elders. Your new PDF, Honorable Alanyo, would you want to speak a little to the objectives of your...
Much obliged, Right Honorable Speaker. The object of this bill is to provide for the establishment of a public service pension fund and a public service pension scheme, and provide for the governance, the functions, organization and management of the fund, to provide for the collection of contributions to the fund and payment of retirement benefits to pensioners and their survivors, to provide for the investment of the monies of the fund and for related matters. With this bill, Right Honorable Speaker, that the ills that we are facing under the current scheme will be history. Right Honorable Speaker, I beg to move.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Honorable Mapinduchi, could you give us a summary? Yes, but
Madam Speaker, under the rules, you provide us with the seats here, and the first priority goes to your ministers on government and the opposition. The Honorable Barambarugahari has sat there for over 20 minutes conducting a different meeting within your house. Started with Honorable Yabe, she went away. Now he has brought two others with the phones. They are conducting business before you. Is it in order for the Honorable Minister to sit there and conduct business against your will, yet we are here following everything in the directive of the Speaker? And would it be directed that he is directed to come and sit in front to avoid distracting your members, whom is conversing with internal as if he is on attending a rally, Madam Speaker?
Honorable Balam.
Right Honorable.
Honorable Balam, we have just passed rules in this house, and you're privileged to always sit on the front bench. And based on that, can you just shift and come to the front bench and leave us, the small people, to sit behind? Thank you. Yes.
Thank you very much.
Now my Muko from Abim is also moving from one place to the other. I think he thinks he's looking after cows. There are no cows in the house. Okay.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker and Honorable Members. As I embarked on this assignment, Honorable Speaker, permit me to lay on table the report of the committee together with the minutes of the committee meetings. I beg to lay.
Please do. Thank you.
Right Honorable Speaker and Honorable Members, permit me to present the report of the Committee of Public Service and Local Government on the Public Service Pension Fund Bill 2024. Right Honorable Speaker, the Public Service Pension Fund Bill 2024 was read for the first time on 19th December 2024 by the Minister of Public Service and referred to the Sectoral Committee on Public Service and Local Government for scrutiny, in accordance with Rule 129 of the Rules of Procedure of Parliament. Right Honorable Speaker, the committee scrutinized the bill as required by Rule 129(2) of the Rules of Procedure of Parliament, and hereby reports to this House in accordance with Rule 132 of the same rule. The object of the bill. The bill seeks to establish the Public Service Pension Fund Bill and the Public Service Pension Scheme, provide for the governance, functions, organization, and management of the fund, provide for the allocation of contributions to the fund and payment of retirement benefits, provide for the investment of the monies of the fund, and to repeal the Pension Act Cap 89. Number 3, need for the bill. Right Honorable Speaker, currently, the government operates an unfunded, non-contributory defined benefit scheme for the public service. regulated under the Pensions Act Cap 89, which was enacted in 1946. In 1946. The Pensions Act provides for the guaranteeing and regulation of pensions and gratuities for public service officers under the government of Uganda. The benefits include a lump sum amount given upon retirement and a monthly pension based on the last pensionable salary of a civil servant at a fraction of 1/500th, or in simple terms, 1/500. Right Honorable Speaker, various actuarial studies on the current pension scheme reveal that it needed drastic change. For instance, a World Bank actuarial study in 2021 recommended a number of redesign options, pushing for a contributory scheme. In 2022, Right Honorable Speaker, government commissioned an actuarial valuation and also recommended a funded contributory scheme. According to the 2022 actuarial study, Uganda had 334,146 civil servants and 64,855 pensioners. For financial year 2021-22, the total annual pensionable emolument amounted to 2,868 billion, and the annual pension amounted to 315 billion Uganda shilling. These figures excluded members of the armed forces, non-pensionable employees who earn gratuity. In financial year 2022-23, the total annual pensionable emolument was to increase by 33%, amounting to Uganda shilling 3,823 billion. Basing on projections, the government expenditure on pension would rise from around 940 billion in financial year 2020-2023 to 14,561 in the year 2053. Even if the current scheme was closed to new entrants. As such, the current pension scheme is unrealistic and unaffordable and unsustainable. The evaluation study, Right Honorable Speaker, recommended a modified plan that preserves the current defined benefit basis, but with a lower fraction of 1/600th or 1/600 and a contributory scheme funded by member contributions. Accordingly, the Public Service Pension Fund Bill 2024 introduces a contributory pension scheme designed to provide a sustainable source of funds for pensions. The bill proposes the establishment of a public service pension fund which shall be a body corporate and shall operate the public service pension scheme for employees in public service and other public service who elect to join the scheme. The fund will collect the contributions, keep records, mobilize resources for the management of the scheme, investment of monies to finance the payment of benefits out of the scheme. The new arrangement is intended to improve the management of pensions and reduce government expenditure and liability of paying pensions directly from the consolidated fund. Honorable Speaker, the Minister of Finance, Planning and Economic Development issued a certificate of financial implication as required under Section 74 of the Public Finance Management Act, Cap 171, and in accordance with Article 93 of the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda as amended. The certificate indicated that the new scheme will lead to increased national savings, thus availability of cheaper long-term financing, mainly for private sector investment, which will result into economic growth. According to the certificate of financial implication, the bill has a total implication of 19.736 trillion, of which Uganda shilling 363.34 billion projected is required in the first year of implementation, and Uganda shilling 1.901 billion for pre-reform activities. There are no expected revenues or savings in the short to medium term, but a reduced pension liability to the government in the long term. And Right Honorable Speaker, an analysis of the financial aspect of the pension reform proposal in Uganda was conducted and is attached as Appendix 1. Right Honorable Speaker, in the interest of time, methodology, I'll request that you look through and permit me to take you to page 5. We also, under B, conducted documentary review of the following literatures. You can look through those different literatures that we looked at. I'll take you then, Right Honorable Speaker, if you'll permit, to number 5, which is committee observations and recommendations. Honorable Speaker, the committee observes and hereby makes recommendations on the salient parts of the bill. 5.1, mandatory contributions. The current scheme under the Pension Act Cap 89 is fully unfunded and payments are done directly from the consolidated fund. Clause 27 provides for payment of the mandatory contributions to fund the scheme. The mandatory contributions are 5% of the basic salary of the employee and 10% from the employer. Contributions must be paid to the fund by the 15th day of the month following the month for which the salary is paid. Clause 27(6) allows the minister, based on actual valuation, to verify the contribution rates through a statutory instrument. Committee observation. The committee observed that A, with a contributory scheme, the liability of the government will be reduced compared to the current unfunded scheme. Additionally, the new scheme will encourage employees to take an interest in its success as a joint venture with the government, which will enhance its performance. B, most schemes worldwide are moving towards contributory systems. In Uganda, for instance, employees of Makerere University on pensionable terms subscribe to the Makerere University Retirement Benefits Scheme with contributions of 5% from the employee and 10% from the government. In addition, actuarial studies have recommended a contributory scheme for the public service of Uganda for a sustainable pension system. C, based on the contribution, employees' take-home salary would decrease by 5%. The Minister of Public Service and stakeholders propose having a salary enhancement of 5% across board as a way to offset the effect of the mandatory deduction on the employees' future take-home. Recommendations. A, the committee recommends that the government should prioritize the enhancement of salaries to ensure that the 5% deduction of the employee's salary does not affect their take-home. B, ultimately, government should revise salaries equally across the board in order to address the poor pay of public servants and the significant salary discrepancies between the different categories of civil servants. 5.2, pension formula for benefit, for future benefits. The current formula provides a pension fraction of 1/500th under Section 4 of the Pension Act Cap 89. The proposed formula is the new law, in the new law is 1/600 under Clause 40 of the bill. While stakeholders express support for the bill, there is general concern that the proposed formula will reduce the eventual pension payable to a civil servant. The committee received proposals for other fractions as low as 1/400th and 50th, as well as proposals to maintain the current 1/500th or 1/500. The fractions are illustrated below, and we have provided, Right Honorable Speaker, some calculation to demonstrate what would be the implication of the fraction. You will see the old pension scheme. We have done the calculation, and you see the proposed fraction in the scheme. We have also provided the calculation just for demonstration. Following the same formula, Right Honorable Speaker, the proposal for 1/450 produces a final monthly take-home pension package of this. We are just giving a summary of the example we gave. While acknowledging the concerns of public servants that by the proposed fraction, the pension payable to public servants will be less, there is a real concern that the current scheme poses a risk of continued delays in processing of benefits payment, security, and sustainability of payment. The committee observed that the actual study by the World Bank and the study commissioned by the government of Uganda recommended a reduced fraction to 1/600. This would ensure that government does not fail in its commitment to provide pension for its employees. For the sustainability of pensions and social security of Uganda's public servants, it is important to follow the recommendation in the evaluation reports. Committee recommendation. The committee recommends that the pension formula for future benefits at a rate of 1/600 should be adopted. As in the bill, however, as recommended above, government should expedite the plan for salary enhancement across board so that the pension fraction of 1/600 does not negatively impact on the employee's pension. 5.3, the Board of Trustees. Clause 8 provides for the Board of Trustees appointed by the Minister with the approval of Cabinet. The board comprises the representative from the ministries of Finance, Labor, Public Service, Local Government, Public Service, Labor Unions, and 3 technical persons not being public officers. The committee observes that the employer, which is government, takes the lion's share of the representation on the board, whereas only 2 persons shall represent public service labor unions and 3 shall be experts of different fields. There is no representation of pensioners on the board. Under Clause 8.1e, the 2 representatives of public service labor unions are nominated by the center. The center is unidentified, and the provision does not detail how it shall nominate the 2 representatives out of the many public service labor unions in the country. Committee recommendation. The committee recommends that A, the number of representatives of public service labor unions should be increased from 2 to 3, one of whom should be a pensioner. B, the representatives of public service labor unions should be nominated by the registered federations of labor unions. C, the number of experts under Clause 8.1f should be reduced to 2 to cover the increase in the number of the representatives of the labor unions, and considering that the ministry's representatives shall be experts in related fields. 6.0, other observations and recommendations. Clause 2, interpretation. Clause 2 provides for the interpretation of key terms used in the bill. The committee observes that there are pertinent terms used in the bill that have not been identified, such as administrator, fund manager, gratuity, and scheme. The committee also observes that there are definitions such as accrual rate, annuity, early retirement, and pensions authority that have been defined but are not used elsewhere in the bill. Committee recommendations. The committee recommends that 1, the undefined keywords in the bill be defined to avoid misinterpretation and misapplication of the words. 2, the definition of actual rate, annuity, early retirement, and pensions authority should be deleted because they are redundant. Clause 4, application of the Act. Right Honorable Speaker, Clause 4 provides that the Act shall apply to employees in the public service and employees of the other public service who elect to join the scheme. Other public service is defined as public service in government agencies, departments, authorities, boards, or commissions subscribing to retirement benefit scheme other than the pensions scheme. The committee observed that most entities that fall under this definition of other public service operate mandatory schemes, such as the Makerere University Retirement Benefit Scheme and the Parliamentary Pension Scheme. Similarly, the National Social Security Fund Act, Cap 230, under Section 7, has a mandatory requirement for eligible employees, including those of the other public service, to register with the NSSF. Clause 4.2 excludes persons in elective positions, members of the armed forces, employees of security organizations, employees in other public service subscribing to existing retirement benefit schemes, employees in the public service who are left with 5 years to attain the mandatory retirement age and who have not elected to join the scheme, and any other category that may be expressly exempted by law. Clause 4 also gives a ministerial discretion to prescribe employees to whom this law may be or may not apply. Committee observations. 1. The committee observes that allowing employees to elect to join the Public Service Pension Fund may cause unforeseen risk, unwarranted legal battles, and challenges in management and payment of retirement and pension benefits of these employees. 2. While the employee may elect to join the scheme, the clause is silent on the sponsor or employer who in the same institution may not remit an employee's benefits to the public service scheme and may thus contradict other existing retirement or pension laws like the Uganda Retirement Benefits Regulatory Authority Act Cap 232. Clause 4. Clause 4.2e is silent on the fate of the public servant who is left with less than 5 years to retire. Additionally, this clause assumes a voluntary element in the law, even though the scheme being created is intended to be mandatory. Committee recommendations. The committee recommends that, Roman number 1, the bill should focus on employees in the mainstream public service covered under the current pension scheme. 2, the employee in public service in government agencies, department, authorities, boards, or commissions, which is referred to as other public service, should be covered in this scheme. Should not be covered in this scheme. 3, since the bill is a contributory scheme, it should not give the employees who are left with 5 years or less to retire an option to elect to join the scheme because they will not have sustainably contributed to the scheme. 4, clause 4.2e should include employees who are left with less than 5 years to attain mandatory retirement age. Clause 9, functions of the board. Right Honorable Speaker, Clause 9 outlines the functions of the Board of Trustees. The board is responsible for the oversight and management of both the Public Service Pension Fund and the pension scheme. This includes ensuring that the fund is managed in accordance with the Act and other relevant laws, collecting contributions, approving the annual work plans and budgets, and appointing service providers such as fund managers, custodians, accountants, auditors, and actuaries. These functions are critical for ensuring the effective governance, transparency, and sustainability of the Public Service Pension Fund, ultimately protecting the interests of its members. Committee observation. The committee observed that one of the functions under subclause 1c is to collect contributions from pensionable employees. This is a day-to-day operation of the fund, yet it is a good governance practice for a board not to be involved in the day-to-day operation of an entity. The functions of the board should thus be limited to oversight and management. Committee recommendations. The committee recommends that the board should be limited to oversight and management functions of the fund only. Clause 10, tenure of office. Clause 10 of the bill outlines the tenure of office of members of the Board of Trustees. The members of the Board of Trustees are to serve a 3-year term and may be reappointed for 1 additional term based on satisfactory performance. This provision ensures that the Board of Trustees is composed of competent individuals with clear processes for appointment, resignation, and removal to maintain effective governance. Committee observation. The committee observes that under subsection 5, subclause 5, a person representing an institution may be withdrawn from the board by the institution, which can be subject to abuse by institution head, who might have grudges or personal interest against the representative. Committee recommendation. The committee recommends that the person who is representing an institution should be withdrawn by the institution on the approval of the minister. Clause 12, filling vacancies of the board. Clause 12 provides for filling of vacancies of the board. When a member of the board is removed from office, the minister must appoint a replacement within 6 months. This ensures the board remains fully functional and can continue its duties without significant disruption. The new member or chairperson serves only for the unexpired period of the term of the member they are replacing. Committee observation. The committee observes that, A, unlike subclause 1, subclause 2 does not provide for timeline within which a minister should appoint the chairperson of the board in case of the vacancy. This might create delays in the appointment and stifle the operations of the board. B, additionally, this provision only mentions removal of a member from office, yet vacancies might be created through death or resignation. C, the new member of the board is expected to only serve the remainder of the term of office of the person that has exited. However, for purposes of maintaining institutional memory, the new member should serve for a full term of 3 years. Committee recommendation. The committee recommends that A, subclause 1 and 2 should apply to both the chairperson and the members so that the timelines apply to both chairperson and members. 2. OB. This provision should include death and resignation, not only removal from office. C. A new member appointed to replace a member who exited the board should serve a full term of office. Clause 20. Appointment of other staff of the fund. Right Honorable Speaker, Clause 20 of the bill details the appointment of staff necessary for the effective performance of the fund. The other staff, including the secretary to the board, are appointed by the board on the advice of the chief executive officer. The staff are appointed under this clause to all office based on terms and conditions determined by the board and specified in their instrument of appointment. However, the terms and conditions of employment for other staff are determined by the board in consultation with the minister. Committee observation. The committee observes that although the requirement for the minister under subclause 3 ensures that staffing decisions align with the broader government policies and regulations, this might lay the foundation for unnecessary bureaucracies in the day-to-day functions of the board. Committee recommendations. The committee recommends that in determining the terms and conditions of employment of other staff of the fund by the board, this function should entirely be the mandate of the board. Clause 21, interim management. Right Honorable Speaker, Clause 21 of the bill provides for the appointment of an interim chief executive officer and other staff of the fund. The minister is responsible for seconding an interim executive officer and other staff from the public service to manage the fund during the first 3 years. This clause ensures that the fund has immediate leadership and staff to manage its operation from the onset. Committee observation. The committee observes that there is a need for the minister to appoint service providers during the interim period, yet they are critical for fund's stability and effective functioning, especially at the initial stages of the fund. Committee recommendation. The committee recommends that A, minister should appoint an administrator and other service providers to support the interim management during the interim period. 2, the interim period should be reduced from 3 years to 2 years to expedite the transition process. Clause 23, establishment of the scheme. Right Honorable Speaker, Clause 23 of the bill outlines the establishment of the public service pension scheme. The fund is mandated to establish and operate a contributory defined pension scheme known as the Public Service Pension Scheme. Both the employer and the employee are required to make contributions. The scheme is a defined benefit pension scheme, which means that the benefits are predetermined based on factors such as salary, history, and duration of employment. Committee observation. The committee observes that this clause is crucial as it lays the foundation for the establishment and operation of the pension scheme. However, the task to establish the scheme has been left to the fund, yet the scheme should be created under the law. Committee recommendation. The committee recommends that the scheme should be expressly established under Clause 23. Clause 24, membership of the scheme. Clause 24 outlines the membership criteria for the public service pension scheme. Under this provision, an employee in the public service who has more than 5 years left until they reach the mandatory retirement age is required to join the scheme. Like in Clause 4, this provision invites employees who have 5 years left until mandatory retirement and members of the other public service who are not part of a similar retirement benefit scheme. It is the duty of the responsible officer to transfer relevant pension files and information to the fund for these employees. Employees who elect to join the scheme must be registered within 30 days of their decision or from when they assume duty. Committee observation. The committee observes that Clause 24 refers to membership of the scheme, yet the scheme is not a body corporate under this law. The fund is the body corporate mandated to execute the functions provided under this act, not the scheme. Therefore, there must be a clear nexus between the fund, the body corporate, and the members. Committee recommendations. The committee recommends that A, the members should be members of the fund and not members of the scheme. B, As already recommended under Clause 4, employees in other public service should not be included as members of the fund. C. Employees with less than 5 years to attain mandatory retirement age should be provided for. Clause 26, which is cancellation of registration. Clause 26.1 provides for cancellation of registration of an employee on notification by the responsible officer that the employee has ceased to be an employee and has elected not to continue contributing to the fund. Committee observations. The committee observes that the proposed pension scheme does not envision continuation of contribution after a person ceases to be an employee. Hence, the second part of the clause is redundant. Committee recommendation. The committee recommends deletion of the words "and that employee has elected not to continue contributing to the fund." Clause 27, mandatory contribution. Clause 27.6 and 27.7 gives the minister powers to vary the rates of contributions being on an actual valuation. The committee observes that Clause 27 on the mandatory contribution is a substantive part of the bill that should not be varied by statutory instrument. Committee recommendation. The committee recommends deletion of both clauses 6 and 7. Clause 34, qualifying period for pension. The qualifying period for pension is defined in Clause 2 as the length of service in public service or other public service which a member shall serve before qualifying for pensionable service. The qualifying period for pension for employees of the public service is at least 10 years of continuous service in a pensionable position or an aggregate period of at least 10 years in public service, including periods when the employee is on leave without pay or has just joined other public service. Employees who have not served the full 10 years may still qualify for a pension under specific circumstances, such as retrenchment, abolition of office, and medical grounds. This clause is crucial as it sets the minimum service requirement for pension eligibility, while also providing for exceptional cases where employees can still receive pension benefit despite not meeting the 10-year service threshold. Committee observation. The committee observes that A, the deletion of other public service under the proposed amendments of Clause 4 applies to this provision. B, a new phrase, appointing authority, has been introduced in this clause. It only appears in Clause 34 and 46 and is not defined. It appears to refer to employer, a word which has been consistently used in the bill. Committee recommendation. The committee recommends that the term appointing authority should be substituted with the word employer, which is commonly used in the bill. Clause 36, qualifying for payment. Right Honorable Speaker, Clause 36 outlines the criteria for members to qualify for the payment of a pension, including upon mandatory retirement age, which is 60 years. After 20 years of continuous service in public service, upon reaching 45 years of age and having served the qualifying period, which is 10 years, upon death and having served the qualifying period, abolition of office on medical grounds, retirement in public interest, and transfer to other public service. This clause also provides for payment to a legal representative upon death of a member, which is for a maximum period of 15 years, and a minimum pension of a quarter of the last pensionable emolument, if the pension calculated under the Act is less than the minimum pension. Committee observation. Committee observation. The committee observes that A, subclause 1B, which provides for the condition of 20 years, is not conditioned on retirement of the member. This means that a member can get pension after 20 years even when still in service. Yet, pension is supposed to be received after a member has ceased to be in service. B, subclause 1C has the same issue as 36(1)D because the 45 years are not conditioned on end of service of the member. C, the payment to a legal representative for a maximum period of 15 years in clause 36(2) has not been qualified. It should be from the death of the employee. Committee recommendations. The committee recommends that A member should qualify for pension under this clause upon exit from the public service. B, in subclause 2, the pension granted under subsection 1D shall be paid for a maximum period of 15 years after the death of the employee to the legal representative or of the member's estate. Clause 38, refund of contribution. Clause 38 provides for a one-off refund of contributions for specific categories of members. It also provides for refund where excess contributions has been made. Committee observation. The committee observed that subclauses 1B, C, and D are unfair because even after a member has qualified for pension under the Act, they shall lose their pension on the basis of dismissal, abscondment, or resignation. The years of an employee in service do not matter. For instance, an employee who absconds at the age of 59, having served in public service for 30 years, will not get pension. Committee recommendation. Committee recommendation. The committee recommends that subclause 1B, C, and D should be limited to employees who have not qualified for pension under clause 36 or gratuity under clause 37. Clause 44, reappointment of an employee into pensionable service. Right Honorable Speaker, clause 44 provides for previously earned benefits of a member who has been reappointed into pensionable service. That such benefit shall be added to the subsequent pensionable service if that member has not received any retirement benefits in relation to previous pensionable service. Committee observation. The committee observes that A, under this clause, the members who are reappointed into pensionable service after receiving part of their pension shall lose the rest of their pension. B, there is no provision on how to cater for the balance of retirement benefits that have already accrued to the member. Recommendations. The committee recommends that a member should not lose their pension after reappointment into pensionable service because they have already earned it for all of the years they spent in the service. New service does not take away all service or its accrued benefits. Clause 47, computation of benefits in case of abolition of office. This clause provides for pension and gratuity benefits to employees who are retired due to the abolition of the office they hold. It ensures that employees whose positions are eliminated are still entitled to pension and gratuity regardless of the duration of their qualifying period for pension, provided they are confirmed in service. Committee observation. The committee observes that there are 3 benefits included under this provision, namely a pension, a gratuity, and an additional pension. The committee opines that these benefits need to be moderate so that a pension and a gratuity is sufficient for a person whose office is abolished, instead of getting all the 3. Committee recommendation. The committee recommends that the bill should provide for only a pension and gratuity for a person whose office is abolished. Clause 48, no alienation or attachment of pension. Clause 48 1A provides that a pension, gratuity, or other allowance granted under this act shall not be assignable or transferable and shall not be attached, confiscated, or levied upon in respect of any debt or claim except for the purposes of satisfying a debt due to the government or a debt relating to a tax due and payable. Committee observation. The committee observes that A, the spirit of the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda 1995 is to protect pension from tax. Article 254(2) of the Constitution provides that the pension payable to any person shall be exempt from tax and shall be subject to periodic review to take account of changes in the value of money. Clause 48(1)(a) does not align with the spirit of Article 254(2) of the Constitution. B, Section 70 of the Uganda Retirement Benefits Authority Act, Cap 232, is also written in the same spirit. It provides for protection of a member's contribution and states, notwithstanding anything to the contrary contained in any other written law, where a judgment or order against a member of a retirement benefit scheme is made, no execution or attachment or process of any nature shall be issued in respect of the contribution or funds of the member. Committee recommendation. The committee recommends that clause 48(1)(a) be deleted. Clause 54, reserve account. Right Honorable Speaker, clause 54 outlines the establishment and management of the reserve account. The board is required to open and operate a reserve account. The reserve account will be funded by fines and penalties imposed by the Act, special contributions, income from investment as determined by the minister in consultation with the board, any other monies directed by the minister. Committee observation. The committee observes that subclause 1B, which provides for special contribution, is vague. Special contributions are not defined. Committee recommendations. The committee recommends that subclause 1B should be deleted because the bill does not make provision for special contributions. Clause 56 and 57. Clause 56 provides for annual report, and clause 57 provides for recovery of sums due to the fund. Clause 57A appears to have been misplaced or wrongly moved from clause 56. Committee recommendation. The committee recommends that clause 57.
Is it 57A or 57.3? Clause 57.3 appears to have been misplaced or wrongly moved. You had read A, it is 3.
3. Thank you. Committee recommendation. The committee recommends that clause 57.3 be moved to clause 56. Clause 58, investment. Right Honorable Speaker, under clause 58.4, the board is required to develop a financial plan for each financial year. The committee observes that 1 year is a short time for an investment plan to be developed and implemented. Committee recommendation. The committee recommends that the investment plan should be developed every 3 years. Clause 66, power to make regulations. Clause 66 of the bill outlines the minister's power to make regulations to give effect to the provision of the Act. The regulations made under this section must be laid before Parliament. Committee observation. The committee observes that subclause 3 does not mention the reason for laying the regulations before Parliament and the timelines that follow. Committee recommendation. The committee recommends that the regulation should be laid before Parliament for approval and timeline given within which Parliament receives and approves the regulation. Clause 69. Effect of the Pensions Act on the existing public service pension scheme. Clause 69 of the bill outlines the effect of the Pensions Act Cap 89 on the existing public service pension scheme. The existing non-contributory public service pension scheme will cease to take on new members within 12 months after the commencement of the new act. This transition aims to gradually phase out the old scheme and introduce the new contributory scheme. Committee observation. The committee observes that closure of the existing scheme is not explicitly mentioned in the bill. Committee recommendation. The committee recommends that the clause should explicitly mention that the non-contributory public service pension scheme existing immediately before the commencement of this act shall, within 6 months from the date of the death of the least beneficiary, be dissolved. Clause 70. Preservation and payment of accrued pension rights. Right Honorable Speaker, Clause 69 of the bill addresses the preservation and payment of pension rights that have accrued under the Pension Act Cap 89. Committee observation. The committee observes that a new phrase, redemption bond, has been used in the bill, yet retirement bond is provided for under Clause 51 and is defined. Committee recommendation. The committee recommends that retirement bond is used instead of redemption bond. Right Honorable Speaker and honorable members, I beg to submit.
Thank you, Honorable Chair, for a very exhaustive report. Thank you. Yes, Honorable Baka.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Hey, you relax, you are Baka Blindi.
Baka is back.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I raise up to support the report of the committee, and I pray that this House passes this into law. Madam Speaker, contributory scheme, for me the keyword is sustainability. A contributory scheme is more sustainable, more accountable, and the pensioners are likely to be getting even more money when the time comes for them to start earning from their contributions. So I'm so happy that the government came up with this idea, and I'm also very happy with the committee. And with the panel beating they have done on the law, I think we are going to make a very good law. On the issues of management, I'm also in concurrence with the committee for creating a robust management board that will oversee. Because this fund is going to grow exponentially. It's going to be a very big fund, much bigger than all these funds we are seeing around. So the management has been well catered for, and I think the committee has done a very good job. However, finally, Madam Speaker, the issue where I heard that there is a clause where a pensioner could lose pension even at the age of 59 if they absconded from service. I would propose that when it comes to that time, we take a lot of keen interest.
Why don't you wait and go to that clause and make amendment?
Exactly. My proposal will be that a pensioner probably loses the contribution from government, but their hard-earned money which they contributed should be given to them when that time comes. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
There's a motion.
Madam Speaker, I have carefully listened to the chairperson of the committee. He's been very clear, very exhaustive, and we have gone through this report. I move a motion that we move to committee stage so that we shall have sufficient time to move clause by clause. I beg to move.
Thank you. Is that seconded? Yes. Seconded by Ethel, by Baka, by Honorable Victoria. Honorable members, you want to debate on the report or on the bill? On the report. Just know that you have to finish. Whether you debate and sit up to midnight, okay. Mine is local government. Yes, Honorable Nzima.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I want to thank you for the opportunity. And I also want to thank the committee for the robust report. I think this report has come here for the second time. The first time the report was presented, and there were areas which were recommended for amendment, and the amendments were actually more. They were over 60%. And in my opinion, what the committee has just done is to go through with the ministry to correct those areas, which has already been done. And just as the Honorable Baka has said, the major principle of this bill is just to bring into force a contributory scheme, which will promote sustainability. And these issues of arrears, where pensioners are not paid money, it is in arrears, this will not arise. So basically, I've just stood to support the motion. That
Thank you.
Instead of wasting time to debate this, the motion which was raised by Honorable Ebalu, that let's go to committee stage and look into this. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you so much. He has been a chairperson of that committee. He knows that committee. And you see the wisdom in him. It has been seconded. Why don't you, members, why don't we look at this clause by clause? Lepton.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, majority of us in this House will agree that we needed this report like yesterday or even before. So I see no reason as to why we should hesitate to move to the committee stage so that we can handle them clause by clause. These things we all agree we really need them. Thank you.
Thank you. Honourable members, I now put a question that the Public Service Pension Fund Bill 2024 be read a second time. Those in favour say and the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
The Public Service Pension Fund Bill 2024, Bills Committee stage. Clause 1.
I put a question that clause 1 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. Let's have it.
Clause 2.
Clause 2 is interpretation. We stand over it, then we come back.
Clause 3.
Clause 3. I put a question that clause 3 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. Let's have it.
Clause 4.
4 amendment.
Right Honorable Speaker, Clause 4, application of the Act. Clause 4 is amended A, by substituting for subclause 1 the following. This Act applies to employees in the public service. B, in subclause 2, A, by deleting subclause D, and 2, in paragraph E, by deleting the words N, who has not elected to join the scheme. C, by deleting subclause 3, justification, to remove the employees of the other public service and employees who elect to join the scheme from the application of the bill.
Honorable Minister.
Yeah, Right Honorable Chair, first of all, I would like to thank the committee for the report. It was quite extensive and has made our work much easier. But we would propose that we leave this clause as it is, because it allows, it doesn't restrict. And it is also in consonance with the definition of public servant in Article 257 of the Constitution. This other public service is a creature of the standing orders. But all of these people in all these MDAs are public servants. So if you allow them the choice to come, for example, if someone were in Makere and wanted to move to this scheme, it is not contrary to what so this clause is permissive. It allows them, because it is them to elect. But the principle here is that all the public servants must subscribe to a scheme. Whether it is a scheme at your other workplace or in this public scheme, you must subscribe to a scheme. But if you elect to join this scheme, I don't see why we would just keep them out. So I pray that members, we allow them to. It's an election by the members.
And 3, are you okay with 3?
Your right Honorable Chair, this clause here, where they say the minister may by statutory instrument prescribe employees to whom the act may or may not apply, is actually an important clause, because there could be categories of persons in the future who are not provided for, whom may wish to join the scheme. And when they wish to join the scheme, because the scheme has been provided for public servants, you will need an instrument which brings them into this. For example, currently, the Makere University Retirement Scheme is a mandatory scheme by creature of a statutory instrument by the minister. So without it, we cannot allow people to just set up schemes and just participate. So this clause is actually important, and I beg to submit that you allow it.
Yes, thank you. Yes, Sarah.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, I want to agree with the Attorney General. Actually, I'm wondering why the committee is trying to close it and leave it to a certain category of public servants. When we were processing the NSSF bill, we actually opened it up. You may not belong to any government agency or to any private sector. You may be a market vendor or doing your own business, and you elect to start contributing, which should encourage the culture of saving. So, Right Honorable Speaker, rather than restrict it and then tomorrow, no, Chair, and then tomorrow come back here to make amendments, I want to agree with the Attorney General that let that particular clause remain the way it is. Thank you very much.
Yes.
May I seek clarification, Chair?
Right, Honorable Speaker. When you look at the definition of other public service,
Maybe you could first hear from Aisha. Then
Chair, I am actually in support of Chairman, as I seek clarification from the Attorney General. If every public service is taken care of, okay? Now, this other addition you are adding, are we putting a provision where someone will opt, I may opt not to belong to Makerere and come to this public service? Is that what we are providing for? And that's what the chairman's report was saying. It causes confusion because as of now, already every public servant is somewhere. So when you say, and those that may opt, are we putting a provision for people to choose not to belong to their mother organizations and subscribe to the mainstream public service scheme?
Additional clarification. Additional, Madam Chair.
Madam Chair, I want to see, you see, Mr. Attorney General.
First look at the definition of other public service.
Attorney General. You see, Mr. Attorney General, when you look at the NSSF Act, the kind of clients of that bill are not like what is in public service, civil servants. When you look at the Makerere Act, a primary teacher cannot subscribe, and is a civil servant in the government, cannot subscribe to the bill which gives pension scheme to Makerere University. So what is restricting? Do you want to suggest that somebody can be saving money in different schemes at the same time and is a civil servant? It is not possible. Because what you are going to earn as a civil servant from your salary is what they are going to save on part of your saving as a civil servant. So what I want to know from you, if the Makerere Bill Act has restrictions on categories of people, including primary teachers like me, teaching at Shimon Demotion School, they cannot save from Makerere University. So how do you bring them to the new scheme that we are trying to work on as a bill? Could you guide us on that?
First of all, for information, even as we speak now, there are some, Makerere University is a supranational scheme. There are actually some members of Makerere University who are serving in NSSF. So the one of Makerere University is you elect. This public service one is this is a mandatory scheme for civil servants. So the moment you're a civil servant, that's what we are saying, the moment you're a public servant, you have the right to participate in this scheme. What this scheme is saying is that, for example, when you look at other public service, and Right Honorable Chair, we need to start from the definition of public servant from the Constitution. The Constitution defines public servant to include all these people who have been defined as other public servants. Now, if these other public servants in this agency, say NFA, decide that they wanted to join the public service scheme, mandatory scheme, by removing that allowance for them to join, then that means you have kept them out. But you can actually have, when you have mandatory schemes,
you name, they have their scheme. But there are people we are looking at in the public service who have been having their scheme. I think that's what I see myself, but you can correct me. I'm looking at a teacher now, primary and secondary, and that category of people. So are you stating that once you open this, then it is mandatory that Chambogo University will close the other schemes to be filtered into this one?
Chair, Musomesa, this act does not apply to one, a person in elective position, two, a member of armed forces, three, an employee of a security organization.
Are taken care of.
Yes.
But everyone else who is not in a scheme has two choices. Either to set up a scheme or join this one. The idea of this principle is that there should not be...
It's very clear. It says means public service in government agencies, departments, authorities, boards, or commissions subscribing to a retirement benefit scheme other than the pension scheme. So it's saying, it's actually referring to people who already belong to existing pension scheme. And in this case, Makerere University is one of them. So the question we are putting is, why would we want to disorganize an existing scheme that is doing well instead of concentrating on correcting, not necessarily, and the rest should be maintained. Otherwise, the moment we create room for people to begin to run.
Honorable, does that... I want you to read this one. One.
Right, Honorable Speaker.
You get it, eh?
Right, Honorable
There's
Chair.
no contradiction.
Right, Honorable Chairperson. That's what he seeks. That's what he seeks to amend. What it is right now is that, as you read it, he seeks to amend it to say this act applies to employees in public service. That's what he seeks to amend.
Which is the first part.
Which is the first part. And what he is saying, and I agree with him, because the object of the bill is to do away with direct benefits schemes, okay? We want to do away with the DB. Now you want to bring people who are already in contributory schemes and bring them in here.
We are saying it is voluntary.
Yes.
So it is elective.
Chair.
Madam Chair.
Chair, my understanding.
The word is voluntary. Elect. And it is voluntary. That's number one. Number two, and what I've heard the Attorney General say, there could be an organization that will create here, an agency which falls under other public service. And before they start their own contributory, and before they start their own scheme, they can elect that for us as a new authority, all of us shall go to the one existing.
Yes.
So it should be really flexible.
Yes.
Yeah. Chair, I would like to start with that particular argument, is that I want to give a practical example. Supposing we create Lango University. So, you start Lango University, they have a choice of either establishing a Lango scheme or they can say they are joining this.
Yes.
So that's why this provision is important to remain, to give options. Let's not look at the existing schemes, but other schemes that may come. We might even create another organization here. That's the first understanding. But the second one on E is that because there are people going to retire at the age of 60, my understanding, the proposal was to give them that an option to join on because they are this close now to the retirement age. That's why E is there. It's giving flexibility for those who are already 55, and at 60 they are going to retire. That's why this provision of E is there and should actually remain, so that they have a choice of saying, yes, I'm 55, I'm going to join, or I'm now close to, I'm not going to join. So I want to agree with the Attorney General and the position of the bill that it seems to be. Right, thank you.
Chair, can you concede?
Right, Honorable Speaker. If you will permit, if
let's move forward, Chair. We all use the same English.
Right Honorable
Unless-
Speaker, I concede.
Clause 4 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say and the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 5.
I put a question that clause 5 stands part of the bill.
Under clause 5, clause 5 talks about establishment of the public service pension fund. And when you read through from 1, 2, 3 up to 4, nothing talks about the objective of the objective of the fund. I was thinking it is at this point when we would have
6 is functions of the fund.
Yes, later on when read through functions of the fund, actually I will suggest that these are looked at as functions of the board. When you look at them, you look at them, sir, ma'am. When you look at 6, they are actually functions of the board, but objectives of the fund. They can be merged.
9.
6 and 9 can be merged, but when you look at 6, it doesn't look to be functions of the board. When you look through of the fund, to establish and operate the scheme, to do what, it's not function of the fund, it's actually functions of the board.
The functions of the fund, that's the 6. The fund shall exercise the following functions: to establish and operate the scheme for persons employed in public service and other public service who elect to join in the scheme, to specify the roles for contribution, record keeping, and payment out of the fund, to finance the payment of the benefits under the scheme. Yes,
Chair, I think the concern of Honorable Aisha, from my understanding, is that the fund is not just a fund; it's a person, a legal person. Yes,
it's a body corporate.
Yes, it's a legal person. Now we are giving this legal person the functions as a legal person. What do you do? This is what is here.
Yes.
The board does something else. So
when you look at 5.2, the fund shall be a body corporate. Yes.
Say functions of parliament.
Yes.
Functions of parliament.
Yes.
Yes. As a legal entity, this is what you do. So the fund is not just the fund as money.
It's not. Yes, not money.
Yeah.
Chair, the Attorney General can advise us if functions and objectives are one of the same and you don't need functions of the fund, then I'll give in. He's the legal mind of the institution.
Okay.
I think the functions and objects are different, and all of them are being provided for, because the objects of the Act is there, the functions of the fund are there, the functions of the board are there, all of them are there at separate times. And when you look at them, maybe when we get to the functions of the fund, I think that's where you may want to, if you think that there is something that we need to clarify, that's what we could clarify. But I think it's clear what clause 5. Clause 5 is about establishment of the body corporate.
AG, I agree, but do objectives of the Act serve to be the same as the objectives of the fund? I agree, objectives of the Act is there, but objectives of the fund, it is missing.
Right Honorable, this fund doesn't have any objectives. This particular fund does not have any
Thank
objective.
you.
It has function.
I put a question that clause 5 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say and the contrary nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 6.
6.
Right Honorable Speaker, clause 6 is amended by, A, by substituting for paragraph A the following. A, to administer the scheme. B, by substituting for paragraph B the following. B, to collect contributions from pensionable employees and their employers. Justification, a consequential amendment to the amendment of clause 4 2, to provide for collection of contributions as a function of the board, and 3, to delete a function of the board that is administrative in nature.
Minister?
Agreed.
Chair. Chair.
Attorney General?
We have no objection. We thank the committee for their input.
Chair.
Yes.
I wanted to inquire from the Minister of Public Service if he's comfortable with that objective and whether it would be problematic to include the boards engaging in investment of such funds, because we know the resources may accumulate and they need to multiply and generate more revenue for the fund. So it will be important to appreciate what your comments on that would be.
Yes.
Chair, on that amendment, the chair seemed to base this justification on amendment of clause 4.
Consequential. Where he's talking about consequential.
Yes, and we did not. We rejected.
Yet we rejected.
Under clause 4.
Right, Honorable Chair, even without this, without clause 4, the proposal that has been made by the